This is ASDP UFOologist Paul Wellborn from North Yorkshire in the UK, and you're watching the Alien Strand podcast with your amazing host, Donald Ledesma.
AlienStrand.com, official website.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. Yeah, it's going to be a nice, cool one today. You know, I wish it was cool down here in South Texas, but it's just not. I don't know why. I mean, I was actually working at my other real job that I have too, and I was sweating my butt off out there, man. I was like, man, I can't believe how freaking hot it is down here in South Texas. Everybody's all in the winter time, and they're having this snow and all this nice, you know, things out there, winter wonderlands, and no, we're still in shorts and flip-flops over here in South Texas. Remember that. So if you guys want to move down here, that's just be expecting that. And remember, summertime, it's like Hades out here, man. Hades, I'm trying to tell you. So, welcome to today's Alien Strand Podcast. You're listening to us live on audio, streaming on Spreaker right now. We're streaming on, I believe, iHeartRadio, and we're streaming on Spotify as well. So, and we're going to be on 26 audio platforms. Thank you for listening tonight, and thank you for watching. We're on, 10 or 12, 8 live podcast right now. We're on X, we're on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube tonight, hit us a like and subscribe. Please do that. That really helps a lot. We really appreciate you guys for that. And you watch it on X, give us a thumbs up, share everything that we're doing out here. Everything we're trying to do is for disclosure. Just remember that we just have such a nice time, you know, just trying to get all this out there, you know. Look, Ryan Keaton's out there. He says, it was nice and 75 today in San Antonio. LOL. Yeah, brother, I know, man. I know how hot it can be. It almost makes you want to bust out a beer, right? Or two, just maybe two. That's it. Anyhow, you know, if you're catching our podcast, make sure to catch us on Patreon. Come join us, man. $5 a month. You can't beat that with a stick. You know, we do have one that's coming up. I've already recorded it. I just haven't threw it out there yet. I'm getting a little lazy, but I'm going to get it out this weekend for sure. For the people that are paying $5 a month, you guys are going to watch a special podcast. Remember that. Remember, we Alien Strand on Podcast. Just download Patreon. There you go. Look for Alien Strand Podcast. We're going to have merch coming up for our paid subscribers. And, of course, there's a lot of good stuff on there. Go to our Patreon page and go check that out. Now, the middle two. It's already ready to come out. Like I said earlier today when I was talking on this platform that, I think it's going to be coming out like faster than expected because they really accepted it pretty quick after I fixed everything with it. So get ready for that. It'll be on Amazon Prime. You guys will be able to check that out. It'll be for sale, so you guys can rent it or buy it if you want. All right. So, and if you buy it, it's yours, man. You get to keep it. It's yours, just like the DVDs back in the day and all that good stuff, right? So, just remember our past podcast. If you check that out, it's called The Third Kind. I talked about how things from the past may have coincided with us, maybe have helped us with our DNA structurally. The extraterrestrials, things like that. And I was able to kind of break it down a little bit, make you think just a little bit of what may have happened 300,000 years ago. Right? So I was able to talk about that just a little bit on this past podcast. Catch it on YouTube, on all of our platforms, 26, 27 platforms. You'll see it out there. Castbox, Deezer. We're all over the place, man. But thank you for listening to this podcast. It's really doing really, really nicely. So remember, the middle 2 is going to be coming out soon. Man, we can't wait. Right now, I believe it's not on. We have the middle part 1. It's out there right now, but it's actually, I just found out today, we're on 10 live channels right now as of today. So we are actually on 10 live channels now. Hoopla, Rewarded, TCL, Tubi, Amazon Prime, Thrills TV. We are on Apple. We're on Apple TV as well. So if you have Apple TV, you can actually look for the middle Cascadia Guides. You'll find us there as well. All right, go check that out. Also, let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, man, I forgot. The middle. What? It's for free. I'm telling you, man. We put it on YouTube. Go check it out. Before I shut it down, I was going to shut it down, but Terry says, keep it on a little bit longer. My sister said, yeah, keep it on longer. I think, you guys need to watch this film. So go to our YouTube channel, go to Alien Strand Podcast YouTube channel, hit us a like and subscribe. The movie, the whole movie, the documentary is on there, the middle. Go check it out. We got it on there for free. Just get us a like and subscribe, and that would help us go a long way as for that. All right. Also, the middle tetralogy, right? That's exactly what it is, because we have the middle 1, we have the middle 2, the visitors, we have the middle 3, consequences of contact, and we're gonna have the middle 4 coming up. All right. So get ready for all of these that are going to be coming up pretty soon on all your streaming platforms, on your televisions. All right. Please. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the support that you've given us for this film, all right? And the films that are to come, because they're good. They're just going to give you so much information on everything, right? Follow us on Alien Strand Disclosure Project. Remember, there's no I in team. It's all of us all together as a team. And, we all try to work together on getting all the information to you guys as much as possible, all right? So, I've rambled enough a little bit. I want to talk to Mr. Terry Lynch. I'm going to get him on right now. We're going to actually talk about how to film UFOs, things like that in the sky with your cameras, with the cameras you have at home, things like that. So that way you guys can kind of get a better understanding. We're going to have some pictures here. I'm going to show some videos of UFOs. I'm going to show pictures of UFOs and recent ones and the ones from the past as well. So you'll be watching those as well tonight. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get Mr. Terry Lynch on right now. Here we go.
Hello, everybody from the middle, Central Oregon.
Right on, brother. Right on. Thank you for being on the show today. It's we have a lot of information to get to folks. Let me ask you this question first. How's the weather out there, brother? In Oregon.
Well, it's almost as balmy as you guys. We're at about 28 degrees. We got snow on the ground. I got a guy on a snowmobile that keeps running past my house at full bore. So it's kind of like you guys, only we're not using motorcycles.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, snowmobiles do work, but I'm sure they're pretty loud and nuisome too at the same time. They just nuisance. It's just, I get it, man. As they say, as we get older, we get more cranky.
That's right.
We get crankier.
That's probably more of what's going on.
Yeah, but it is what it is. So, we have a lot to break down tonight. It's, how can I say this? We have some UFOs that we're going to show here tonight. Have you been seeing anything lately on your side of the woods, your neck of the woods, as far as UFOs or anything like that?
Well, yeah, when we have clear nights, you kind of have to be around here. You have to be up at about 3 a.m.
Right.
If you want to catch some of the stuff that's going over Paulina Peak at nighttime, we have had quite a few people in our local area that are, ever since the middle came out, and they've been able to see it, and a few of them's had a chance to speak with me in town. I kind of let people know. I say, if you're out there at this time, you're going to see craft going over Paulina Peak.
Right.
And lo and behold, people have been seeing stuff over the top of Paulina Peak. The other night we had something that a lot of people were trying to say was a practice burn, but there wasn't a practice burn going.
Right.
The whole skyline out back behind Paulina Peak was glowing after the sunset. In the west, Paulina Peak, from where we're at, is in the east.
Right.
So we had a lot of people posting pictures, and nowadays, all the local people, whenever they see something strange in the sky, they get a hold of guess who?
Right.
They get a hold of me, and then maybe because I can help explain some stuff.
Right. Well, that's a good thing. The movie actually helped that out. And, I hear that you and Mr. Jonathan Mitchell have been getting stopped a lot out there in La Pine, Oregon. People are actually starting to notice you from the film.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that's recognized us from the movie. It all the way into Bend, Oregon, it's the same. We get stopped by a few different people there. But mostly in La Pine, because this is where it all took place, where you and your team showed up, and then me and my team and your team went up and we started doing all the filming.
Right.
A lot of people saw us when we were out doing it. It's not something that once it happens is a big secret. People they notice a film crew, they notice things, they talk about it, and then when we started kind of advertising locally about it, well, a lot of people wanted to see what was going on here locally.
Right.
So now we've got a large population of the city here that's actually seen our movie.
Right.
And now whenever they see something, they try and contact me, or they contact Jonathan, and they start asking us questions about what they'd just seen in the sky.
Right.
Where a lot of people in the past, they see something, they just button up, man, because they were afraid.
Right.
They're afraid to talk about it. They're afraid they're going to be called somebody who wears a tinfoil hat or whatever.
Exactly.
With everything that's happened recently with the governments of our country and other countries, and disclosure, it's loosening up. It's loosening up.
Right.
People are not as much afraid to talk about it anymore.
Right.
And we're getting a lot more reports. We're getting a lot better reports. And you're getting more of a mass report of something that you see in the sky. Well, now more than one person has seen that, and they want to talk to you about it.
Well, if people don't know who Jonathan Mitchell is, if you watch the film The Middle, he's the guy that was on that edge of that cliff stacking up all those rocks, and it was kind of like a nail biter. I was biting my nails, and I was up there filming it, right? So, but anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't have went over there myself. If I say I'm kind of mountain goaty, well, he is a mountain goat.
Oh, I know. He had no fear. Him or his son had no fear on that edge, man. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it when I was watching or witnessing. But I said, you know what? I better film this because people are not going to believe it if I don't film it. So luckily I did. Now, let's talk about some UFOs, because today we're going to talk about how to film a lot of these crafts up in the sky that you're seeing, not just in La Pine, and all over the world or all over the United States, anywhere. I mean, for anyone that are able to do this. Now, I'm going to show this image first of all, and we're going to talk about this real quick. Now, this popped up on my feed today with Nancy Timms today. She actually posted it up, and I had to throw it out there. This was an actual photo of a UFO craft in 1961 Taiwan, taken by Wang Xiling in Tisang City. It says this was the first known photograph of a UFO in Taiwan. Photo courtesy of Tufo. Actual to UFO investigator Ho Xinjiang. I'm sorry. It says there has been 15 recorded sightings where this photographic evidence suggests that extraterrestrial objects have traversed the skies above Taiwan. Says the earliest of these pictures were taken in Tisang City in 1961. UFO photographs date back to 1911 in the China proper. So the picture that we're seeing here is in black and white. It's up in the sky. It's like really good photo, man. That's why I was like, oh my God, I got to share this, man. Now
that's amazing.
It's it's in the cloud, just like barely hovering, like right below the cloud, and there's a dark. It almost looks like a halo in the sky in a sense, but there's a dark black circle underneath it, which is I guess the bottom part of the craft. Now, it has a really strong saucer shape to it as far as that. But what are your thoughts about that photo, Terry?
Well, that black portion underneath the bottom would be the magnifier or the amplifier for the shooting down the magnetic flux tubes that go from the craft down to the ground, which is what's giving it its called quantum levitation. I've mentioned it before.
Right.
But that portion right there. That's where the business is being done to make it do this quantum levitation. That is just a remarkable craft for 1961. What a picture for this is. I like myself when I go into. We'll probably be going into this a little bit later. I use a Pixlr.
Right.
And when I get into it, I tend to use black and white or negative. I go to the negative.
Right.
And you can really bring things out when you're using certain filters if you go to the negative. And this right here is a beautiful. Somebody got just a priceless shot here. You can clearly tell that it's a larger than that black spot.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you could tell this craft is huge.
The amount of energy it's putting out too to make the outer portion like this.
Right, exactly. And this is in 1961. So you're looking at standard cameras back in the day. They just had, a couple of speeds. It was actually, you control the speed by just a manual turn on it.
There's the shutters.
And that was it, just to get a photo like this. Now, I'm sure, it's got a nice zoom in on it, but I'm sure whatever camera they used, it was a decent camera back at that time in 1961. So, and to me, of course, there was no cell phones and stuff. So it had to have been a nice camera, like a Minolta, maybe something like that, that would take a good photo, and just to bring out the textures the way it did. In other words, it has a lot of bit to it. You know what I mean?
You bet. I have, I'm a Nikon guy. I've got them just kind of laying around here, but I'm a Nikon guy, and two of my cameras that I have for this are film cameras. One's an FA,
right,
and the other one's an AF Nikon.
Right.
They're both film cameras. You still load it up with the same stuff. You load film into it, and it gives you almost a more clear shot of pictures when you've got the right lens and you're doing everything correctly with it.
Right.
You can take some absolutely remarkable pictures. If you're lucky enough to catch something like they did with their film camera. You have a tool. It's an older tool, and it's what people used to use to get these things. If you look at any of the old black and white pictures, not any of them, some of them.
Right.
There's pictures with cowboys sitting on their horse, and there's a UFO up above the guy. There's pictures of what they call the Foo Fighter.
Right.
These are pictures that are taken out of like World War II, and these guys were in their airplanes, flying squadrons that were moving along, and they've got Foo Fighters flying with them. The Foo Fighter never got involved in the fight, but it always was observing. These things would follow around the different air battalions, be up in the sky. They'd be getting ready to go in for Germany or something like that, or fighting against Japan, or Japan coming up against us, or Germany coming up. They always had these things in the skyline. They always saw them. They were always way too busy to try and investigate what that is, because they were trying to prepare themselves for battle.
Right.
So they had them, and they got pictures of them.
And yeah, no, I've seen those. Those are so cool. I think Anibal always posts those up, as well as Mr. Paul out there. Well, he loves those old photos, man. Let me tell you. Let's talk about this photo here. So this one was recently posted on Alien Strand Disclosure Project. So this was taken in 1958 in Brazil. Of course, this was before 1961. And it looks like an ocean view with some rocks. And at the very distance of it, you can actually see a craft. And they start zooming in. But you can tell that this craft, UFO craft, is kind of rocking back and forth because we have 3 separate photos of this craft. Now, it says this was taken in Trinidad Island, UFO, Brazil, 1958. An officer narrates at least 20 servicemen, including a medical officer, witnessed this object. The speed was incredible, they say. It says the crew of the ship, Alimandre Sandahana, something like that, spotted on January 16, 1958, a flying saucer over Trinidad Island, which was photographed by Alamiro Barunya, 43, who was on board to photograph underwater scenes. It says Bermuda attention was woken up by a nose on the deck of the ship while several sailors looked onto the sky. It says he picked up his camera and started taking pictures. He claimed to have seen the disc moving on top of the ship around noon, and at the end of the speed of the object was very high. He says I took 6 images, neither or be it says had nor sound, so it didn't have no sound at all. It says the film was revealed on board to authorities, released the negatives that only showed a small dark spot. Later at home, he continued to expand the film and managed to get a disc which appeared in the picture. Wow. So that's pretty much what we're seeing here. It was a nice blown up photo of it, and it's just a great saucer shape image. Now this shape image that we're looking at in audio world, just not watching, it almost looks like, let's just think about Saturn kind of pancaked a little bit. So that's pretty much how this UFO craft looks like. Now, of course, after all these podcasts, I do post the images and links to everything that what we're seeing here. What are your thoughts about this one here, Terry?
This right here, when I see something like this, you got to realize that I like to talk about Earth rotation and the equator a lot. And this location is down by the equator. They're going to see more craft in this location. There's a lot more sightings in this location from the different governments and militaries. They see them constantly hanging out around their ships. I believe that those are trying to figure out what our capabilities are and what we're doing in the area. This in particular location is pretty close to the Bermuda Triangle. When you start saying Brazil, you're talking about going out and to this location where we're currently having it's a gravitational anomaly that's taking place just out off the coast of Brazil, and the gravity is a little less there.
Right.
Okay. We have less gravity at this spot. It's been verified scientifically that we're having this anomaly there, and we're also having it on the opposite side over by Puerto Rico, or not Puerto Rico. Sorry. I'm trying to think of the name. Guadalupe. Guadalupe, Mexico.
Okay.
The island on the other side, on the Pacific side.
Right.
But we have these 2 locations where we're having this gravitational anomaly, as well as you have all these big sightings of craft still today. You still see if I were to go down there with my cameras, I guarantee you I'd come back with several different craft footage, all kinds of stuff of different things. Right. There's other people that know how to do what I'm talking about, namely the ones that have taught me. However, whenever you're in this location, what's going on is the Earth's spinning one way, and it's 1,000 miles an hour is how fast the Earth is spinning in that location.
Right.
So when these things do what's called the quantum lock, they'll lock into a position and they stop, and they're actually moving with the rotation.
Right.
These craft, when they let go, bam, what happens is they let go with the magnetic flux, the Earth spins, the craft stays put.
Right.
So it looks like they're taking off over 1,000 miles an hour at incredible speeds. And what they've simply done was just let go of gravity.
Well, and it helps too.
Yeah, and it does. It's
the spin helps. It's like
the spin helps with propulsion.
Right. All right. Well,
for them.
So we have this video that I'm going to show real quick. I don't know if it might have some sound to it, but it's not very long. It's going to be a craft that somebody caught in the sky. And now watch this video. It's going to have just the strangeness of this craft. It's kind of zoomed in. So let's go ahead and watch this now, and let me know what you think. Was that strange or what?
Heard this. I'm actually the person that shared that one.
Okay, so
that's kind of funny.
But okay, so what we're looking at in audio land is a craft up in the sky. It's almost like a circular ball shape, but it's got a bunch of lights around it, and there's one only spinning in the middle. There's like satellites that are just spinning in the middle, and then you have a flashing light that's kind of, it has a different pattern in the front that's kind of blinking as well. So now, this thing was probably way the hell up there, and somebody actually used a really nice zoom. You can kind of tell because the way of the movement of the camera, the way it was kind of moving back and forth, trying to keep this thing in lock, right? Because it's kind of hard to do when you have these cameras because it wants to go in and out of focus, right? So I think whoever did this one actually had it on manual focus, and they were able to grab this image that was on there. Now, Terry, do you think that the way it was flashing, you know how we down here, when we see a star, we see a craft maybe, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, maybe 10,000 feet above us, and we see all that flashing and stuff. Could it be the way what we're looking at here on this UFO up close, that the way it's flashing, that's what we're actually seeing down here with our eyes? You know what I mean? Because we're not up there that close to it, you know what I mean? At night, especially at night.
The interesting thing, yes, I actually agree with that. The further away it is, the more everything kind of blends together. For what we have for eyes, if you're out there with a scope or something like that you can see things a little better, you might be able to see exactly what's happening there. Right. I want to also reiterate so people will understand when I say I'm the one that shared that. I'm the editor for the Danish space program. Okay. They're an actual space agency. They launch things into space, and I do editing for the site that they have. Now that's why when I say I shared that and it comes up and you'll look and it says Danish space program, you'll realize I'm the guy that made sure everything happened there.
Wow.
So it's there. That's an actual space program again. And I share everything that we have that's here, like within ASDP, Alien Strand Disclosure Project. They're very tied into what we're doing. The Danish are, the Dutch, and they're very, very cued in onto this ufology thing. They want to learn just as much as anybody else. They just happen to have a little bit better means. So it's within our interest to tie into space agencies if we can. And this is one of those things where ASD is tied in with a space agency.
Nice.
And it's kind of hard. I mean, if I were to say the same thing about me being part of NASA, now that would be
yeah,
that'd be wonderful. But
yeah.
NASA's they've got their own people.
Well, I mean, as long as we're working together, you know what I mean, with the Danish space program and different ones that are out there, that wants to kind of tag along and just kind of be with us and us with them and just trying to figure these things out, because I'm sure they got telescopes, right? I'm sure they got cameras too. I'm sure they got all that good stuff, data recorders, EMF recorders, everything like that, in order to detect a lot of these things that are happening above our skies in space, right? So,
Right.
atmosphere, stratosphere, all those spheres, they're up there watching all this stuff daily. Like somebody's actually sitting there, for a 10-hour shift, and somebody else comes for a 10-hour shift, actually monitoring our skies constantly, which is a great program to be with, you know what I mean, as together, working together,
Right?
Because these guys are on top, and it's like us, we have regular jobs, we have a regular family life, whatever, we do our thing, and we try to squeeze in as much ufology and everything as we can, as much as possible, but we're not there 8 to 10 hours a day, watching these things like these guys are. So of course they're going to have more of not an upper hand. They're going to have more information and more data than what you and I are, right?
Right. The Danish space program wanted to put me together with several doctors over there in Amsterdam. They were wanting me to go in and teach ufology to these folks. And maybe at some point we can work that out. But at the moment in my life, I've got other things going on. We're making movies. We've got things going on over here.
Right.
And quite frankly, there's a lot of stuff going on that's kind of close to this location that I don't want to put my family near at the moment. And, maybe if some wars stop taking place, I'll be more than happy to go over there. But I'm not real interested right now in being over in the Netherlands until it's the correct time.
I know.
But these are the people. I've been talking about them for quite some time, and I've been working with them for quite a bit longer than our very own ASDP. Right. So this is something that may be further along in the future. You might hear about me taking off for Amsterdam and going to work to put together a group of ufologists out of some doctors that they have over there.
Right on, and that's awesome. So let's go ahead and talk about your camera setup that you use out there. That you use on a daily basis, like as far as your camera rigs and how you set your things up to photograph out there. Now, do you do mostly photographs, and then some video, or you kind of mix it up a little bit?
Actually, I mix it up quite a bit. If you look at the middle, oddly enough, the middle picture here, you'll see that I've got a Nikon. That's a P80. I got a P500. And this is moving from this way. And I have my D3200. I have my AF and my FA Nikons that are up to the very far side. They're together. They're both film cameras. And then out off the far end, what you're looking at is my P500 and my D3200. P500 is an 800 millimeter super zoom, and the D3200, which is the furthest one out there, that's got 1,000 millimeter zoom lens on it, telephoto lens. And then on this other side, right this way, I'm holding my new Nikon P1000, and that's a 3,000 millimeter super zoom.
Okay. Let's talk about okay, so let's say Terry Lynch goes and says, you know what, today I'm going to go up to the mountain, or just maybe in your front yard, because you live pretty close to the mountains. I want to just try to get some photos of the sky, or however I'm going to do this, if I think there's going to be a craft flying by. Now, what are the steps that you take? Do you just kind of take your equipment outside? You set up your tripod? What's your steps that you do?
Right. Well, what I'll do when I'm going out to do this type of thing is I will take, like, say my D3200. that 1,000 millimeter lens will only operate on the manual setting. Okay, but with it, I can video. So what I'll do is I'll take that and I'll get myself set up on a tripod. Everybody gets a tripod, and I'll aim it. And what I'll do is I'll try and locate myself air traffic that's going by.
Right.
And I look forward to finding jet streams coming off the craft. It gives me something to focus in on with my camera, and then I'll get myself focused in, depending on what I found, and I'll get that one set up, and then I'll move over to my P500, and it'll be on a tripod. It'll be facing a different direction,
right.
And then I'll take my P1000, and it'll be facing a different direction. Okay, and I'll get everything focused in on different chemtrails that are off of the back of these airplanes, and I will start recording, and that's when I video.
Okay,
and I'll video different directions.
So you shoot
to try and catch.
So you shoot the video, right, on each camera. So you got you got 3 different angles, and then after you finish that, you kind of after you're finished for the day, you bring your footage inside and you kind of go through it and see if you caught anything, right? So you drop the motion down to slow motion mode, or frame by frame.
Here's what happens with me. I gotta tell you this one. This is what happened with me because I've done it so much. I'll run at full speed. Okay. Because I've worked with Annabelle, and I worked with Jody Gordon, and I worked with Tino Gallegos. Every one of these people have taught me the same thing: how to see things at full speed. You're just looking for that one quick flicker that runs past, just that fast. Okay, now that you got that in particular spot, that's when you go back and you go slow past it, and now you can get a better thing. What we used to do is we'd see that one spot, we'd actually stop the video at that spot, right, which is very hard to do. And then what we do is we would, like say, for instance, if you're using a phone, you're using your phone to record. What you do is you stop it on that spot. Sometimes you have a little bar that you can run it with, and you can find that very spot. You stop it, and then you take a screenshot, and then you zoom in on it. You take another screenshot, you zoom in again, and before you know it, you got a picture of a craft. Let's see. That way. There it is. Over here on the far end here, not the one with me holding the camera, the other far end, you can see 2 craft that are going by. That in particular location just happens to be the very spot that I'm standing at there taking the picture. Right. That right there is looking towards Paulina Peak. I'm off on the side there on top of we call the area, it's a helicopter landing on top of one of the buttes that's about 6 miles from my house out in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm really close to being out in the middle of nowhere. So this in particular landing, about the only way you can get there is by a side-by-side or a quad or something like that, or of course a helicopter, because it's a helicopter landing. And then we would shoot video and take pictures and things like that from that location. The location that we're at there, I have a good kind of a 360 around me, and I can see a lot of the Cascades from there. I'm a lot lower now than the Cascades, of course, right. But I'm inside of this big valley that I can see a long ways around in from that location, and that spot gives me a good vantage point where I can set up tripods, and I'll usually take 3 or 4 cameras with me when I go out there. And I'll even use my phone while I'm still doing that. I'll take my phone out, and I use my phone a lot. The cameras on these things are actually quite amazing on a Samsung or an Apple. They're pretty good cameras, good quality picture, good video. Now, whenever you got the Nikon, there is something you can do is you can speed up the that's the armature, the eye in it, And what you do is when you speed that up, it gives you a slow motion effect. I do that to some of my cameras sometimes, and I end up getting some really good stuff by doing that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is you get a good slow motion effect out of the Nikon. if you
raise
if you just
raise your shutter speed.
your shutter speed.
Yeah,
you raise your shutter speed.
So a normal, if you're going to take a normal photograph, that's usually like a 24 or 30, whatever. If you raise it to 60, you got a better rate of slowing it down. And then if your camera can do 90 or 120, that's even better on your shutter speed. Now, when you raise your shutter speed, what happens is your image starts getting darker, so you have to open up your iris a little bit more. Your eyes,
the iris a lot more.
You have to open it to get the light in because it's going so fast. It's like taking hundreds of pictures at the same time. That's basically what it's doing, but on your processor, right? So, but if it goes, that's like a 24, and you got 90, and then you got 120. Right, so it's doing it so fast that you can actually slow the image down at 120 or 90 or 60, and you can actually grab that image of a UFO. Now, speaking of decent cameras and good videos, I'm going to show this video that Anibal shared the other day. I think it was yesterday or today. I can't remember. I think I saw it today. Yesterday.
By the way, Annibal uses Nikon P1000.
Yes.
And he also has, I think it's a D3500 is what his full spectrum is. Right. So he's using Nikon as well. He's the one that sold me on Nikon. Just so everybody knows, yes. Annibal's Nikon too.
That's right. So we're going to watch this video here real quick. I think it's in Japan on this one. So it's up on top of a mountain, and we're going to see this orb that's floating there in the center. It's not the sun. It's not the moon. It's an actual orb that's floating right there in between the mountain. Let's check this out. And then I'm going to show a video of Anibal breaking it down in a different spectrum so people can know how we do these things. Here we go. Okay, so what we were watching there was that orb, and somebody's like just literally really feet from it. They're not even that far from it by the way it looks. Now, and that's going to be your normal image for the people in audio world. It's kind of hard to picture this, but it's just kind of a mountain and like in a valley, and you're seeing this orb like pretty close to this person that's actually taking this video. Now, Anibal breaks this up into a spectrum that you'll be able to see the orb a little bit better of what it is, right? The electronic magnetic field from it. So I'm going to show this just real quick so you can see how Anibal did this. Okay, so here we go. Now, as you can tell there, it's the camera's pointing down into the valley. And the spectrum that he used on this was like reverse colors, YGB, kind of reverse colors on it to try to get, in other words, he made it into a darker image and then brought out the highlights around the craft. So that way you're able to see the electronic magnetic field.
Almost going into the negative on it.
Yep.
Yep. Something else I want to point out, that in particular craft, if you look at the original video that you were showing there, it's over the top of a lava flow.
Yeah.
That's another big factor for me, is I like to get over the top of lava flows and look down onto them because I believe a lot of these things are hiding in them.
Right.
I think that they pop out of them and they go back into them. I think that this is they find themselves lava tubes that go throughout the mountains, and this is part of how they're moving around as they go in and out of the mountain range. And sometimes they use the path of least resistance, which would easily be a lava tube. The location I'm at is extremely volcanic. We have lava flows completely around me. Doesn't matter what direction I go. I have to pass through a lava field or flow to leave where I live. They're everywhere. I don't know how many of them you had to go through to get here,
Right.
but there's a lot of lava flows everywhere you look around here, and in this Cascade Mountain range.
Well, let's talk about the way he grabbed that image. So what we use an analysis of these UFOs. We use different apps, right, to get the different color of the YGB color table, right? So the yellows, the greens, the blues, the reds, right? And what we do is we flip the images inside out. Is basically you're flipping everything inside out in a sense to get the actual the infrared, right, around these crafts.
Right.
So this particular craft is one that Heather grabbed, right, up in Arizona.
Yeah, her and her family were coming in for a vacation down in Arizona. They were kind of doing it's just they call it a holiday anyway. She had let me know that she was going to be coming over from Scotland. She lives over in Scotland. Anyway, when she was getting ready to take off, her and I went through kind of a crash course on ufology, and it was my very first ufology student. She's the first person I taught how to do things. After, of course, Annabelle and Jody and Tino taught me.
Right.
So I taught her, and I knew that she was going to Arizona. She stepped outside of her hotel room. She was actually in the city of Tucson, and she stepped out onto the staircase or the front, like landing at the front door of her second story where she was at in the hotel. And she had only been videoing for about 10 seconds before she got two of these craft. This in particular craft, the white one there. She had two of them shoot past her at full speed. And what I had told her to do was you have to set the camera up on a tripod and you aim it in one direction and you let the craft pass in front of it. You don't go looking everywhere for it, you'll never see it.
Right.
If you leave the camera steady and you're pointing the camera out in one direction, the craft will go past the lens, and you're not doing all the work moving this thing around trying to find a UFO. The UFO goes right past your lens. And now, this was a full speed one. This is before I knew anything about slowing things down by speeding things up. So I was looking at it real close, and I saw this little flicker go past, and I stopped it. This was all done with a cell phone at the point.
Right.
And I stopped it. And then I did a screenshot, and that's the screenshot that you see there after I brought it up a bunch of times. And then over here on this other side where you see the red, well, that's when I took it over to Pixel. I took it over to it, and I believe I used that in particular one was it's called Atomic.
Atomic.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, and I used that, and it shows all like the power sources that were inside of this craft that were going past them. Now she had two of them that went past her that looked identical.
Wow.
That in particular type of craft, I like to call it the Bobcat of UFOs, because those things will pick up rocks, they'll do all kinds of stuff, and they'll move stuff around, and they'll do things. Possibly what made pyramids. I don't know. You know, I would have had to been there and I had to seen it happen.
Right.
But this is possibly what moved all these big damn rocks that we're always trying to figure out how they got there. So that's one thing.
Here's one that I use. I use Pixlr as well, but I use an app called Easy Filters. Now, if you see it out there, it's called Easy Filters. And what I just used the middle one as an example. This is what you see when you open the app up, and then you can start changing, the colors of it, the depths, and all the saturation. You can add saturation, take it away, and it makes it into a green color or red color or a pink color. But you're able to make out like there's a power source in the inside. Now, if you notice in the very top two photos of this craft. Now, this craft was an actual zoomed out photo that you couldn't see nothing until I did the same thing as you did. I zoomed in and zoomed in and zoomed in, and then I kept cropping it until I got this image of a craft that was inside of a cloud, right? And then what I did was I started using easy filters, and I was able to get this image out of that one that we caught up there. Now, so the folks that are listening out there, this is almost like the best way to do it. Not just this app. There's Pixlr, there's V2 Art. There's a lot of different apps out there that you can use to analyze a lot of your photos. Even photos from the past. You can even look into those too. And those will work as well. I never really have an issue when I use these filters. It's all you got to do is sit there and work with it just a little bit. Right, and then you'll be able to grab it pretty. Do you have that? I mean, is that same with you there, Terry?
Yeah. If you work with things, you'll be able to start finding things that you can just barely see that one thing. You move the screen back and forth, you see kind of a dot that's stationary up in the sky,
right.
And it's usually pretty far away when you see that. So what you do is you work your way in. You can zoom in with different stuff. Whatever your computer might do. Or even your phone. You can use your phone to do this, and you can zoom in on these things, and you can take it over after you've done your screenshots. You take it over to one of these, and you can start finding things like I like to use the negative a lot.
Right.
I go into the negative because I can find details quicker with going into the negative. And then sometimes I'll use that, and there's one that's electromagnetic fields. That's part of Pixlr.
Right.
You can zoom in. You can actually see it's like an aurora type thing that's around the craft. It surrounds the craft, and that's an EMF. That's an electromagnetic field basket, is what surrounds the craft. Sometimes you get lucky and you can see those, like the magnetic flux tubes going down. And that's also something that will also show up as part of the EMF.
Right.
I call it EMFF, electromagnetic field, flux field is what I like to call it. EMFF, electromagnetic flux field. And what it's part of the power source of these things. Not only is it holding up, what's holding it up is it's a resistance. Like your magnets that are flipped the other way, and they're trying to cushion themselves and push back, and they give the resistance. Those are flux tubes. That's what's going on, is you're having a flux tube resistance. And these craft, that's another part of their propulsion system, is that they are pushing off of the Earth, right, as well as they're using Earth rotation. But think about how fast magnets flip. I've said it before. Magnets, when you try and do opposite poles on the magnets and you let it go, it'll flip really fast. And it usually flips faster than your eyes can see it.
Right.
That's part of their propulsion system. That's how their propulsion systems work.
Let's talk about, here's another tool that you can use, which everybody has on their phones. It's called Google Maps. Yeah. So
this in particular is Street Views.
Yeah, Street Views on Google Maps. So with Google Maps, you can actually zoom in, go down, you can go different angles, and you can, if you point at the sky, once you're down on the ground, once you go into Google Maps or Google Earth or whichever one you're using, you can actually point up and you can actually catch a few craft up in the sky. Now, we're just using a couple of these as examples that Terry has caught on Google Maps. Now, in audio world, you were seeing a craft on the left. We've already kind of zoomed in, used some analysis on it. The center photo it's a distant photo from what we're looking at, the same craft, but it's at a distance. Almost looks like a bug, but it's not a bug. And then, of course, on the right, we have another photo of this strange craft that's hovering over this.
It's a cross, yeah.
Yeah, like a cross, like a memoriam that somebody put, like if somebody passed away down there. So, and this one actually has an EMF around this craft as I'm looking at the photo. So, I mean, this is a very handy tool, Google Maps. You can do anything. Just kind of remember, you can point at the skies. You can do everything you can, and you're able to get a lot of this imagery up on your Google Maps, right? So you're able to do a lot of nice things with this, right? You can do snapshots with it, and then you can start actually, start analyzing it as you go, right? So and that's just the best way to do it. Like I said, if you don't have knowledge of a lot of these apps, things like that, you can just use Google Maps. If you're good at Google Maps, hey man, you could do this too, right? This is exactly how all this works.
This in particular one, I want to let people know what this is. First off, there's the Google car that drives down the street and they're snapping all the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, they got a camera up on top of their car and they're just driving down the road. The people in the Google car had no idea this was going past them when it went past them. This is the craft that gave me, this in particular craft is the one that gave me 22 miles per second. The very first picture you see there is of the craft coming in, and it's off in the distance. Let's see, the next shot there is of the craft leaving. Okay. And then the third shot in, that's of the craft as it's over that little cross. Okay. This with the other two pictures that you see there, those are the craft when it's throwing out what I tried to tell everybody at these things, they do counter steering. They use counter steering when they steer. And what's happening here is this craft is shooting across the desert, and then it comes to this spot. That's where there's the cross. That's what they're going to turn at, which in this case it was. It throws out a counterweight, and that's what you're seeing there. And you also see this in what they call the gimbal. The Navy calls the gimbal pictures.
Right.
It throws out a counterweight, and you see this little tail come out through the bottom of it. And what that's doing is it's locking a magnetic flux tube to the earth, and it's snapping itself, and now it's going another direction. This was all in one solid set of a frame. So there's 10 parts to a frame. This all took place in one frame.
Wow. So there was two crafts in that one frame?
It's all one craft. That was all one craft.
Oh, one craft. Okay.
That whole setup, that was all just one craft. Okay. So what's happened here is it's coming from across the desert. As soon as it gets to that cross, it throws out a magnetic flux tube down to the ground. With the bottom of that, you see how it has that almost looks like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Okay. What it's done here is it's thrown out a tail in the bottom, and that's the counterweight, and that's helping it do the counter steering. Kind of like riding a motorcycle, I guess. You can counter steer a motorcycle. You push or you pull to make the motorcycle pitch whatever direction you want, and you turn that way.
Right.
Well, that's kind of what they're doing here. Is they're throwing out a counterweight, and that counterweight's locking into the earth with a magnetic flux tube, kind of like an anchor. Again, it grabs it, it turns that craft instantly.
Right.
So it turned basically on a dime. To us, what we're seeing is it looks like it's moving on a grid. Okay.
Right.
Or using geometry. This is how they use geometry to turn. These crafts are doing a counter steering, and they're using a electromagnetic flux tubes to grab the earth and then lock in. So they're not, it's kind of like I said, an anchor, and it grabs onto the earth and then slingshots it in an L shape to the next direction it's going.
Right.
And we've seen this. If you see different things that the Navy's put out about this, they say that they're, when they're following these things, they're doing this right here around our airplanes, and they're moving and they're doing this like a box type turn, but it's a geometry is how these things move. That's because they're grabbing onto, maybe out in the ocean, it'd be easier to say, but this in particular area that they're at is a ley line. Okay. That right there is in the middle of the Estrella mountain range of Phoenix, Arizona, right where they had the Phoenix Lights. Tino Gallegos has nonstop craft going over his place. John Edmonds, he's got stories, he's written books, all that stuff right there in that same location. Several other people have seen stuff. People have disappeared right there in that exact location.
Oh, I know.
that this was at.
Wow.
Now, what I want to let everybody know is you can be sitting at home and you can be on your computer, you can be on your phone, and you can go down the street and use Google Street Views, and you can do a 360 turn. You're on Street Views, you can look all the way around, and you can zoom into the skyline and everything with Google Street Views, and you can go to any place that's considered a hot spot for ufology or UFOs. Say you just can't wait to go out and see Skinwalker Ranch. You don't have to leave your house. All you got to do is go to Street Views, and if a Google car had went down one of the roads down there, you can go inch by inch by inch, as you click forward and forward on Street Views, and you can do a 360 search of the skyline. This is something that I brought up before to other different ufologists in our groups to try and raise the interest, so people realize that they don't have to drive 2,000 miles or fly all the way around the world to go see a location if they want to try and investigate it. If the place has Google going through it and they've got Street Views, and let me tell you, you can go all the way through Peru, or you can go into Africa, or you can go into England, or you can go any place that Google has gone with their car to do this.
Right.
This is something that you can do from home. You can become a ufologist right on your phone right after we're done doing this conversation. You can start right then. And I'm going to also add, if people who are listening accept this little challenge, make sure you share it with ASDP, because this is part of disclosure. Now, there's other things that you can do. Google also has a satellite imagery where you can zoom in on top of stuff. Well, I can go over to the tip of Planet Peak here, and I found locations where I've got 3 spheres that are in a triangle formation going on the far side of Planet Peak. There's also another thing. Now keep that in mind. You can just zoom in, and you can see what's kind of on the ground, but you can also see the spheres. Okay? You can see different types of craft this way. There's another thing that Google does. They have pictures of people that take pictures in different locations. They go to a different location, they snap pictures, they got their wife going, hi, or, whatever.
Right.
Look in the background behind the wife, up in the skyline. You're going to find things. Just last week, I found something in a place called Leslie Gulch, over in eastern Oregon, which is over in the Steen Mountain Range, and I found a perfectly good craft sitting right over the top of all things, a lava flow. So you can find lava flows with Google Maps, zoom in on the area, and if they just happen to have people that are doing touring there as a camper or whatever, they took pictures.
Right. And
you can zoom in on the pictures that's behind them, the stuff that's behind them. Google is a really extremely good tool for ufology.
It is.
I don't think Google meant it to be a tool, but it is a tool, and it's a good tool.
Well, it's technology.
And there's so much information, they can't get rid of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll block out certain things on maps so you can't look down on stuff, but they're not going through every picture. They're not going through every spot, And until it's been brought forth, they don't even know it exists until a bunch of people talk about it.
Right.
So you're going to find more stuff by doing this, and this is a way that anybody can be a ufologist from home, and you'd be surprised at the things that you find. We had stuff off the side of Mount Shasta where you have this beautiful craft coming up, and these people were on I-5. Or the Google camera was on I-5 as they were going past. They caught it.
Nice.
They didn't see it, but they caught it.
Right.
And we shared that a few times, and there's Google has another street view where somebody went, I don't remember exactly where it was at, but they go down into the end of a cul-de-sac, and lo and behold, right over the top of the house, a perfect disc craft. Okay.
Yeah,
some of the islands down in the Caribbean, same thing. They've got perfect disc craft going over the top of people that are sitting there having margaritas.
Yeah.
It's just, it's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. Google is a great tool for people.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? They can call us too. Google, give us a call. Give us a call, Google.
Give us a call. We'll teach you how to use your own tool.
That's right. All right, Terry. Well, that's the end of our little extravaganza here. Thank everybody for listening today and chiming in a little bit and just kind of learning a little bit. Even if you're new to ufology, this is a great learning tool for you guys to just use, right? And the little examples that we showed you, things like that. It's a great tool, man, if you guys are learning. So, Terry, you got anything to say before we close out?
I absolutely do. Disclosure starts with your story and respect. If you want to tell people your story, come to ASDP. Let us know what you've got. We'll respect what you got to say, and we'll investigate. We have several people all around the world, and we're looking forward to hearing your story and respecting what you have to say.
Right on. Great. All right, brother. Well, we'll talk to you out here in a bit. So let's hey, man, it was just a great show today. A lot of information. I know it's a lot of information to bring in on 1 hour, but hey, man, that's all we get to do here today. All right, Terry. We'll talk to you here in a bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. It was very informative. Like I said, it has a lot of information for you guys to just use, on just your cell phones, your photographs, your professional cameras, things like that. If you got any questions, hit me up or hit Mr. Cherry Lynch up on Instant Messenger, and that way we can kind of help you out, kind of go through if you want like a one-on-one, and we'll show you how to do it with your cell phones and your apps, things like that. Also, we have Anibal and we have Jody Gordon out there and Chris Hamill. I'll be glad to show you how to do things as well. So, but I'm glad you guys stuck around today. It was a pretty good show, man. I thought it was a great show, man. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Catch us on 28, 29 platforms. We're going to get on some more. I'm trying to get on some more. I want people to listen to Alien Strand podcast. So I'm glad you guys are listening tonight. It was my pleasure to be on today's show. So until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night.
I believe it was 5 separate craft. That's some straight UFO shit right there.
That's when I started seeing all of the lights and the contact that I've been witnessing.
Alien Strand Podcast.